I have this really cool old wooden crate. This is from Remington. It used to have shotgun shells in there. It's also got a cool DuPont logo, just some really neat vintage lettering. It's a really cool crate, but there's a problem. One of the boards is busted and lost off the bottom. So today we're gonna repair that. It's gonna be fun because upon further inspection, this is tongue and groove. So rather than just slapping a piece on there, we're gonna remake some tongue and groove to patch this thing back up and get this crate solid again. I'm Jeff, you're watching Home Built Workshop. Make sure you stick around. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Home Built Workshop. I hope all of you are doing amazing. This cool old wooden crate has been around for a lot of years, and I want it to stay around for a lot more years to come. In order to do that, we need to spend a little bit of time and kind of patch this thing back up. If we take a look at the bottom where this piece of wood is missing, you can see right away that this is a tongue portion of tongue and groove. So there's a little more to it than just cutting a new piece of wood and nailing it into place. And yes, these were nailed into place, no glue. Given the fact that there's tongue and groove here, that adds a lot of strength to the whole entire bottom because they're all interlocked once they're nailed into place. So in order to maintain this integrity, we need to make another piece of tongue and groove that fits right in there, and then we can re-secure it. That's gonna tie it in with the rest of the bottom, make it nice and solid. So that means, well, we gotta make a piece of tongue and groove material that exactly matches the original tongue and groove. I actually got really excited when I realized that we need to remake some tongue and groove. You see, for quite a long time, I've been looking for the perfect excuse to make one of those old school wooden rabbiting planes. I got so excited that I rounded up all the materials to make my chisel-based rabbiting plane. Picked up a cheap chisel at the hardware store, found a piece of maple that's the perfect thickness, and I was ready to start in this video making that rabbiting plane. And what that would allow us to do is to make the tongue of the tongue and groove. But then I got to thinking, the tongue's already on there. I don't need to make the tongue. So I've got all the pieces to make my little chisel-based rabbiting plane, but we're not gonna need it for this particular project. I'm a little bit bummed out because I really wanted to build this plane. That's okay if I don't need it for this particular project. I'm still gonna build it because now it's in my brain and I'm not gonna be satisfied until I complete the project. You guys ever get that? You just have to get something done in order to get it out of your head. We're gonna fix this crate, and in the next video, we're gonna turn this cheap hardware store chisel into a rabbiting plane. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let's get back to this crate. Looking at this original crate, I believe that it was made out of pine. There's a few knots that are pretty prominent on here that kind of lead me to believe this was made out of pine. However, I searched everywhere in my little shop and I don't have any pine on hand. I do, however, have this piece of wood that I believe was an old runner from a giant old pallet. It's been sitting around for a long time. I ran it through the drum sander just to clean it up, and I think there's a section right in here that doesn't really have any voids or anything. We could get a nice piece to fix this old crate. Reclaimed wood, reclaimed crate. I can make the connection in my head. It's not pine, but it's gonna work fine. Aha, see what I did there? The piece we need is about 14 3/8 long. If I look at this piece we just cut off, there's a good clear 16-inch piece here, a little bit of a bad spot on the very end, and then this has some different voids and things. So if we cut that off here and we cut that off here, that gives us a nice spot, and then we can resaw a slice right out of this nice clear area that'll fit right on our crate. Right off the drum sander, after a couple passes, our new piece is very, very close. We may need to fine tune it once we get everything to fit together, but for now, it's perfectly fine for us to move on. I think next, let's go about making the groove. If I measure the thickness of this tongue, It is just over 1/8 of an inch, about 15 thousandths wider than 1/8 of an inch, which actually kind of gives me an idea. In my table saw, which is unplugged by the way, I run a thin kerf blade. And if I measure that, it looks like the kerf on that is about 92 thousandths. I think what we're going to be able to do is set up the fence, run a very shallow kerf down the center of our piece, and then I flip it around, run another pass so we can get that groove to equal exactly the width of the tongue that we need to make. I'm not 100% sure what this wood is, but I'm kind of leaning toward aspen. Mainly because it's really light colored like aspen, but more so because it smells absolutely terrible when you're cutting. And if any of you have ever worked with aspen, aspen absolutely is disgusting. I don't know what it is about it, but it smells really bad. I kind of think that might be what this is. Anyway, let's see how it fits. I think that's going to fit really well. And our thickness is good too. I can't put it all the way down on there because there's a couple of nails in here yet. Guess we ought to remove those now. Oh yeah, that fits really nice. In order to fix this completely, I need to fix the corner of this next board. There's just a little section here that's busted off. I want to remove this board here so that I can glue on a little patch nice and clean. I'm not sure how wide this is, but I'll start pulling these nails out until that board comes loose. Hopefully I don't have to pull the whole back off, but we'll see how wide that ends up being. Well, I didn't really want to take the whole back off of there. There is a joint right there, but I didn't want to force it apart. I didn't want to break anything else. So we'll just carefully work on it as is. This shouldn't be too hard. I just want to take a nice sharp block plane, just flatten this off. And it turns out, since I didn't plan on doing this ahead of time, I do need to make a little section of wood here that's got a tongue on it. I'm not going to use that rabbet plane though. That's going to still be the next video. To make this super simple, I literally need about 3/4 of an inch. I'm not going to make the plane for that. We'll just use a router table to quickly cut that tongue on the end of this piece. Then we can trim that off, glue it on, and then really we'll just cut this piece to length and reassemble everything. Now to glue this up, it's going to be a little bit tricky to clamp because it's on the corner. You could come up with some sort of clamping cauls or something like that. But I think what I'm going to do is use a combination of Titebond wood glue for strength mixed with CA glue, and the CA glue will act as my clamp. I'll put a little drop right in the center, around the rest of it, we'll put some TiteBond, and then we'll spray accelerator on the piece that we're gluing it to. That way, when you put the piece on, the CA glue will immediately bond to the accelerator, holding the piece in place, allowing the TiteBond to finish drying. Did you get all that? Let's do it. First, we'll spray accelerator on this end. So I've left a little spot right in the center. I'm going to put a little bit of thick CA glue. Doesn't have to be thick, but that's just what I'm using. Just a little drop. Now, we're going to be really quick with our alignment. That's why I clamped this down. That way it's going to be flat with the table. And now all we need to do, press it in place, hold it for a moment. There we go. Now it's not full strength because I did only use a tiny drop of CA, but that is only to hold it in place. Now the TiteBond can dry normally, and we'll have a nice strong glue joint. Once the glue's dry, we'll clean up that area with a flat sanding block to make sure everything lines up. I want to begin putting this back together a little bit. I've got to tighten up these sides, but to keep everything in place, we'll start with the back. I'm just going to line it back up and use the original nail holes. We'll get a couple of these started. Just to hold everything in place. Now, I need to mark the nail holes for the board that was missing. I don't really want to put a new hole in there. So in order to mark that location onto this new piece, I've got a little piece of a nail that I've cut the head off, and I'm going to fit that down into the empty nail hole. And that's going to allow me to basically put our new piece of wood in place. And then I just need to press down. And that leaves a little indent right where the nail hole is. Now I can drill this hole, and that's where we'll insert the nail. My goal for doing it this way is to try to use the existing nail holes. I don't want to put more holes in there than there already are. Before I finish fitting that last bottom piece, I want to tighten these sides up a bit. These nails have pulled out. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to go back in and fill in that hole a little bit. We're just going to see how they tighten up here. This last nail here is definitely not holding, so we will have to shim that in a little bit. Toothpick and a little bit of wood glue. Shove that down into the nail hole. Then reinstall our nail. With the sides in place where they're supposed to be, now I can get an accurate width for our replacement piece. I want to sneak up on the fit, and to do that, I'm using a cool old hand plane instead of trying to trim this off on the table saw. It's just a process of trial and error. Take a few shavings, test the fit, and keep going until it fits perfect. I'm using a really cool, I don't know, 100 and who knows how many years old. This is an old coffin plane by Auburn Toolworks. Super cool, made in Auburn, New York, a long, long time ago. And it works great. Using an old tool to fix an old crate. We'll just take a few passes, check our fit. I think one more good pass. I like it. I just realized that I may have had this box in the way, so you might not have been able to see really while I was planing that. This is the hand plane I was using. Auburn Tool Works, made in Auburn, New York. This thing is made in the late 1800s. I don't know exactly the date, but late 1800s. And it's rumored that Auburn Tool Works would sometimes use prison labor back in the day to help make some of their stuff. There is a prison that's actually still in operation in Auburn, New York, and rumored that at one time they worked in some of these manufacturing. This thing's super cool. Here's some of the shavings that I got off of that. It works really well. Them old tools are hard to beat. With our piece fitting good, I'll just re-secure the bottom using all of the existing nail holes. With the back reinstalled, I now need to make it match the old crate a little bit more. First I used a file to kind of round off the corners, and then to beat it up a little bit, I just tapped the crisp edge with a hammer. Well, now the crate is feeling nice and solid now, a lot better than it was before. I like the way this new repaired piece is fitting. Now we just got to get a little bit of finish on there. I don't know if we're going to be able to make this look like the other one, but we'll apply a little bit of boiled linseed oil. Maybe we'll rub a little dirt on it. See if we can kind of tone this new wood down. While it's wet with linseed oil, I've kind of collected really just dirt and sawdust. I'm gonna kind of rub that in there and see if we can just sort of stain that wood a little bit. I don't know if that's gonna work. Not really. Yeah, it just kind of got it a little bit dirty. Try hitting it with just a little bit of fire from the torch. See if we can just change that color a little. The torch actually worked pretty decent. It toned down that bright white wood and made it look a little more used. I then gave everything another wipe down with just a light coating of linseed oil. Well, I think the heat from the torch really helped blend in the color of this new wood. Is it perfect? No, it's not 100% perfect, but it's a lot better than it was because, well, there was nothing there before. Now we got a piece of wood. This crate, bam, it's ready to be put back to work. Nice and solid, especially since we tightened up a few of the nail holes. This thing's ready to go for another, what, 60, 70, 80 years? Cool old Remington shotgun shell crate. Just a fun little restoration project. I kind of like projects like this where you're taking something that's old and sort of beat up, but not quite destroyed. We're just fixing it up enough to make it usable again. Still in its original condition. Just really fun kind of projects, stuff that I enjoy doing. And I hope you enjoyed following along on this project. Let me know down in the comments if you happen to have any particular information about crates like this. Maybe you've got one yourself. Love to hear about it. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Don't forget, stay tuned. The very next video is going to be building my own handmade chisel-based rabbit plane. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time. Shotgun shells. What a cool crate. 500 shotgun shells fit in this thing. Wow. It's cool. All patched up.